Yeah. Welcome back to yet another episode of Crypto in the Caribbean, the show where we cover all things crypto and island related. I'm your host, L, and in today's episode, we're gonna change things up a little bit. I know normally I tend to come here and just dish out the news and updates and all that other stuff going on throughout the islands, but I wanted to change gears a little bit. So, as we know, last week was the official Bitcoin conference, Bitcoin 2022, over in Miami. And not only was your boy fortunate enough to be in attendance for the full conference, but I was also able to bring along with me a fellow Bahamian. Now, he's not full time in the space as I am. He dabbles in and out from time to time, but he knows enough to appreciate the conference and to get a grasp of some of the concepts and stuff that they talk about. So I wanted to bring him on today and sit down and have a conversation to basically just go over what he felt, some of the things that he experienced, some of the things that he may have learned, and see how some of these things can tie back to the Bahamas itself. So, I mean, you already know what time it is. Let's just jump straight to it. All right, boom. All right. Let's get straight into it. Thank you, first and foremost, for coming through for the interview, sitting down, talking about your experience. Before we get too much into it, though, because we know each other already, but the audience has no clue who you are. So you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hello, everyone. My name is Dwight. From the Bahamas, 242. Um, Long life friend of Leroy from way back. Yeah, he just roped me into the space. I'm a engineer um, by school, and there's a better way to say that.
I mean, because you went to school for engineering, you graduated with a degree
Yeah,
in.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, take two.
Oh.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Also, you don't have to worry too much about the language. Like, one, no one cared that much, and two, if it's too wild, I could just edit it and post. So get comfortable.
sure, that's what I
Because
was saying.
I want I want it to be just a natural conversation for us. I prepared some
Okay,
stuff, but we probably could be winging it anyway. So yes, you are Bahamian. You're currently living in the U.S. Right now. You back home. But like myself, you're a Bahamian living in the U.S. right now.
correct.
So how long would you say you've kind of had any interest in the crypto space at all?
Crypto has been an interest quite some time. I think a couple of years, like probably like 2017. I think 2017 when Bitcoin had the big run up.
Mm,
That's when I started to get involved. I think I saw Bitcoin when it was around, like I first learned about Bitcoin when it was around 100. But
mm.
actively like buying Bitcoin when it was around like 4,000. I think that's like 2000, 2017.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. And what I guess what level would you consider yourself at? I know it's hard to gauge, but how comfortable would you say you are in the space itself? What level of proficiency, I guess, would you say you have in the space?
But I'll give myself a realistic, like a 6 out of 10, because like the more you find out, the more you realize you really don't know. So
Mm.
I'll give myself a solid six.
Okay. Time bad. So that was just the baseline to establish for the audience who you are. Now we can actually get to the meat. Now we can get to the real part of the interview. The big event, Bitcoin Miami 2021, the biggest Bitcoin conference in the world. And this was your very first any kind of crypto conference, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So prior to coming to this conference because I had gone to it last year. I didn't attend the full conference, but I went to Miami. I went to about a day, the last day of the conference. And when I came back, I told you about it. And from there, you said you wanted to go to the next one. And we were able to make that happen this year. So before actually getting there, what kind of expectations you would say you had and feelings? What expectations and feelings did you have prior to actually getting to the conference and the lead up to it?
The expectation I had was I just thought I was going to meet some really dope people in the space. A lot of the extremists in the space, it's like the John McAfee's, rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I thought I was
real.
going to just be like a
Uh,
really engaging and entertaining event, um,
mm,
which it was. Definitely, across the board, I think people that have been there for the first time, based on my experience, and people who, been there for years to come, all of them said, this. Well, especially the people that have been there before, specifically, they said this was like the best Bitcoin conference ever. So it's the biggest one. They said it was 4 times bigger than last year. I mean, last year was
hmm.
cool. Well, the last time they had it.
Yeah.
So they have it last year.
It was last year. It was last year. It
Oh
was
yeah,
last year.
so
You ain't
yeah,
watching
it was
nothing.
4 times bigger than last year and every year
Hmm.
before. So they said it was they loved it. A lot of people who were returning to the space. Um, yeah, they have a. I mean, I think as far as the technology, like even though it has a long way to go, it still has come pretty far. Um, so yeah, going to the conference, I learned a lot more about the technology. I was expecting to learn about that, but um, I also what I learned about what I didn't expect was like the battle between the extremes, and like if you put everybody on a line, as far as extremes, you start to realize that it's more like a circle. So I think one of the biggest parts is like decentralization and versus the centralization, like
Hmm.
which is better for the community. And
Hmm.
I think what I learned is like the answer is kind of like a little bit of both.
Hmm.
Um, but the spirit should be that the overall the coin itself, not the level tools or you say not to get technical, but just the coin itself should I feel like should be decentralized.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Okay. 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 Yeah, you asked a couple of questions. You gotta jump the gun. I ain't gonna lie, but that's straight.
Okay,
We could go
cool,
from
cool, cool, cool. Man, go, man.
there. So yeah, you talked a bit about how it felt. What how would you describe the general experience in the convention, in and around? And I say in and around because when you go to the convention, you won't just go into the convention. You go into everything associated with the convention and all of the events hosted by those people going to the convention. So what how would you describe? I know that's a lot to mull over, but generalize it, how would you describe the atmosphere or the feeling of the convention or
It
the
is
event?
it's an experience for sure. It's definitely something to put on your bucket list. There was thousands of people easily just coming for the conference alone, and then so many other people because there was so many other conferences going on around the same time. It was just like the city was just being taken over by people in the space, and it's crazy like the community that you find. I noticed that at the event everybody was pretty high energy. A lot of people like are still finding out about Bitcoin. They're still wondering if it's a scam. Like but you still got like the OGs in the business. You know, like King and Zay. They
Mm-hmm.
was at the conference too, um, making things happen. It was great meeting them, in person. That was huge. They some great guys. Shout out to them. Shout out to King. Shout out to Zay.
Big
Um,
ups.
shout out to Bitcoin Vegan.
All right, all
I
right,
had a
all right, all
pleasure meeting
right.
them too. But yeah, man, it was. I think the community. Shout out to you know the other guys who doesn't want to be named. You
Yeah.
know, but shout
Yeah,
out to
yeah,
you guys
yeah.
too,
The
man. It was a
community,
pleasure
the
meeting you
squad,
guys.
the
My
squad.
boys from Canada, Illinois. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, man. I think the community was definitely something that I felt was uh, it was like you were like finally ready to wait, which is good.
Mhm.
Everybody is out. There's so much opportunity that everyone's just trying to help each other because
Mhm.
everyone realized that they can't do it all. It's just like blue ocean. Um, Business mentality wise, like just everything is untouched. So everyone's very optimistic, high energy, want to help out, want to show you all their cool new toys. Some people, like I said, I met, they're just cool people, excited. Like they were like nurses. I met some directors. I'm at the conference and they were asking me like, what is it about this Bitcoin? Like, is it a scam and stuff? So that was
Mm.
cool. Um, so that community, like, so but everyone's coming in with an open mind. Everyone's coming in
Mhm.
to learn. I think that was the no matter where you were at from day one or from today years old, like everyone that showed up to that conference definitely had the intentions of absorbing as much as they could and really figuring out like what it's all about.
Okay, okay,
That was
okay,
dope.
okay. So, what would you say? Because there's at these conventions and these conferences, there's so much going on at one time. Um, a lot of times it could be overwhelming, or it could seem like there's too much for me to absorb. What would you say stood out to you the most out of everything that happened there? What stood out the most to you?
But you know what that is. But
In the
but yeah,
conference,
man.
in the
Um,
conference,
yeah,
in
the
the conference,
conference.
in the
It
conference.
was
What stood out to you most in the conference?
yeah, man. The conference though, that was definitely I would say the join coins. Um, you know, bringing because that was interesting to me because Bitcoin is a platform and the technology which is built on transparency. Everybody's seeing every
Mm,
transaction, open ledger. Um, but the question is if it is massively adopted and or when it becomes massively adopted and you know people are being paid in coin and Bitcoin and transacting in Bitcoin. The question is, do you want your boss to know everything you purchase, and do you want to know what your employees purchase? Like either way, like do you want to know that everything that everyone's buying? And I think the answer for most people is no. If you're not the
mm,
feds, like the answer is no. You don't really care what other people buy. So, Joint Coins was definitely a presentation on how you can have that built-in secondary level, but built-in mechanism to keep that anonymity of money transfers and even if it's massively adopted. So I think
mm.
that was one of the big takeaways that I liked about the coin.
Okay,
That was cool.
okay. So, what to put a little twist on it here? What did you prior to coming there expect to see, but you actually didn't end up seeing at all? Was there anything that you
Um,
expected but it didn't actually happen, or you didn't see anything like it?
I mean, like Bitcoin is such a new space. I didn't know what to expect. Been a lot of conferences in my life, so I always knew it was gonna be like a high energy type of vibe. But the culture is just like different. Like everything you would see post, every extremist on view of Bitcoin came out fully represented. Like
Mm,
you had the Bitcoin extremists, like they were like hold. They came out with their uniforms. They were
mm-hmm.
suited and booted, like pretty much gangbanging, like
Mm.
like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
letting everybody know what set they riding, That was
Mm-hmm.
cool. That was like, it was funny because you have a lot of very intelligent people all trying to decide the future of this. And there was another thing, a part of that joint going presentation. I think one of the speakers, he was a real idealist, and I think that was pretty dope. And he pretty much was like, we can, by being these leaders in the space, what we can do is dictate how massly how mass adoption happens. So if we
Mm-hmm.
can dictate how mass adoption happens, and we do it successfully, and we meaning anybody in the space, then that actually dictates policy. So he was like, by being an early advocate of Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency of your choosing, you're like beginning to be like you know a policymaker or affect
Mm-hmm.
policy in the future based on which what you market, what you champion, and how well your idea gets adopted by the masses.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, okay. So, you on the ground right now back home. I ain't been home in a while. And coming off of that conference, coming out of just 2 to 3 days of just being absorbed in Bitcoin and the crypto space and then going back home, how would you describe the atmosphere or the I guess the general sentiment or the general thoughts on cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin back home right now in Nassau?
I think so. I think that you have a few early adopters
Mm,
in the space. I think in the Caribbean, financial literacy is something that in my opinion, we have a lot of, but not enough. Like
mm,
a lot of things. Everyone's like, yo, they should be teaching this in school. Yeah. So as far as as far as my um, take on the island, they're still old school. Like a lot of the banking is like
mm,
banking is ridiculous. You know, banking slow. People still heavily use cash. People have a lot of credit cards and stuff like that. Um,
mm,
but most transactions are done in cash primarily. So even getting to like you know um, using Bitcoin and understanding like the utility and the efficiency. Like I think
mm,
if the information is made readily available to people, and
mm,
you show the ease of use, I think people would start to adopt crypto in waves because the current systems, for the most part, I think majority would agree that they're not
they suck.
yeah, they suck. They suck. So we would definitely need some improvement, and I think cryptocurrency or Bitcoin specifically can be a huge solution, depending on how well a society, from the top to bottom, adopts it. And like I mean, we have a conference coming up at the end of April, with our Prime Minister
Mm,
being a
that's
speaker.
right. That's right.
I think is Tom Brady coming too?
A whole bunch of people coming. A whole bunch of
A
people
couple
coming.
celebrities and
I,
stuff.
I I wanted to ask you about that too,
Uh,
because that the crypto Bahamas is being hosted by FTX or the Bahamian branch of FTX, which is Digital Markets,
mhm.
the official name for it. You have Sam Bankman-Fried, CEO of the whole FTX thing, coming through, bringing a squad. You have Salt, another crypto-based company with Anthony Scaramucci. You have unnecessary people like Tom Brady and some other celebrities coming through. Um, you got the PM showing up to smile and shake some hands. And then you have the other people who are establishing the stuff back home. But FTX set up base late last year. You back home right now. This conference is at the end of this month. It's literally in about 2 weeks, roughly. Little less, actually. Is little less than 2 weeks. How many people have you seen actually even talking about this conference?
Well, only people that know that I'm in crypto, so practically no one.
Do you
That
see
I
any kind of advertising or marketing of
Yeah,
the
not really.
conference of FTX, of anything crypto related going on back
Nah,
home?
it's none of that on the ground. I mean, I'm not listening to the local radio stations, but as far as flyers and stuff, nah,
Hmm.
it's really dry.
Okay.
I've been
So
around the island, yeah, I've been around.
what do you think personally? Because I always give my personal takes on this stuff, and I can come across as biased sometimes. But you being a person who's relatively knowledgeable on the subject matter, who's lived in the Bahamas, you know the kind of infrastructure and systems that we have in place. You see the direct parallels to the US. You see how Bitcoin and crypto can be used to enhance these often outdated infrastructures. How do you feel about the progress of FTX and I don't want to say invasion, but the presence of these external companies and external entities coming in and basically a degree of dominance and establishing this base in the Bahamas. How do you feel about how crypto is being set up in the Bahamas?
I mean, I don't think like I say, I don't know what FTX plans are, but it doesn't seem as if. I mean, I don't know. Like they've been established for what, a year, but so far they just seem like they just did it for the benefits of being offshore. Like to say, whatever perks come with that, whether it be the fame, to say that they have a location in the Bahamas, so bragging rights or whatever.
Mm,
So far, they ain't. I mean, I'm not seeing them. I see them help with a community center, but that's the infrastructure I'm talking about. Like actually teaching people how to use and be a part of it. I keep in
mm,
mind, because I've been at the conference and I understand what other people are doing in the space. I have like higher standards for sure.
mm,
Um, than the average person. I definitely say that, because the average person, like I say, they probably don't even they don't even know what Bitcoin is, so they don't even know understand the
mm,
technology. And so I would say what FTX is doing is I don't know, like nothing right now. They having a
mm.
conference. Not a conference starts a conversation, but I mean you're talking about $5,000 a ticket. If it's $5,000 a ticket, I mean the average person, that's a whale pass at Bitcoin conference. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? So you have a whale, you
Oh no,
charge.
the whale pass bigger than that. The whale pass bigger than that.
What, how much a whale going to cost it?
The whale pass is going like 15 grand, bro.
Oh, I don't. But if you look at it right now, if you buy a ticket for
Oh, right, right, right
if,
now. You mean it
yeah,
for
if you
next
buy
year
it
one?
right now
Oh
before
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, okay,
prices
yeah,
go
yeah,
up, you
yeah.
could get it for 5 grand.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I'm trying to say. Early bird whale prices is
Uh-huh.
general admission FTX prices.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I
Hmm.
mean, it ain't for the average person now.
And
It's
don't
for
forget, it's invite. I believe it's invite only on top of that too. So you have to get invited for you to even qualify
pay
to
five
pay for
thousand.
that ticket.
Yeah, it's a
Uh-huh.
pleasure for them to take that 5Gs from you. You see what they say?
It's an honor.
Yeah, I hope that's all inclusive. But yeah. So, but yeah, I wasn't invited, so needless to say, I won't be there. But yes, uh, even if it was just $5, I probably wouldn't have been there anyway. But it was I mean, I would love to know what they're talking about. So hopefully, there's some type of open conversation. Like the cool thing about Bitcoin conference is that you can actually um go and watch videos. You can go and watch the videos on YouTube. Like
Hmm.
after the conference, like they recorded everything. I'm pretty sure they
Hmm.
recorded almost everything, so you can rewatch everything. So if FTX comes like with something like that, then that would raise my hopes a little bit for what they're trying to do in the space.
You think they will?
Um, no, but like, but if they do, like I mean, because keep in mind, you'll see, you'll see.
We'll
I,
see. We'll
I, I ain't
see.
gonna, I ain't gonna bottom out yet.
We'll see.
You'll see. But it's like if they do it, there's definitely some points like they trying to educate
Yeah.
people. But $5, I mean, you starting off a $5,000 ticket, so it's an invite only, so it's extremely restrictive, and
Mm.
that people like that don't
And
usually.
And I mean, to top things off, the Crypto Bahamas conference is just one of many conferences, not all hosted in the Bahamas, but the people involved in banking and finance, the securities, they're doing these meet and greets, these conferences in places like New York, over in UK, over in Europe and stuff, and they're having these same meetings, they're having the same conversations with these banking and financial and lending and all that stuff, all of these giants of industry, but you don't hear any of it. You don't get any, you're not privy to any of this information unless you're already inside that circle, unless
Mm,
you're already, you know what to look for, and you know, okay, if I follow these specific groups. So for me personally, and the reason I like covering this kind of stuff is because I want more people to be at least aware all this stuff is going on. Even if you don't understand the technology, understand that they are setting something up that you are going to be using in the near future. Whether you understand it or not, you are going to be using it in the near future. So the future of the Bahamas, you see you see a future for Bitcoin and crypto in the Bahamas.
yeah, I see a mass adoption. Like seriously, like realistically, um, like once people could understand, like they could be doing their banking from their phones, and they like really understand, like okay, there's something that's here to stay. Um, Definitely, if the government wises up, I think it's something that's needed, right? Now it
Mm,
could go underrated for a period of time until people become more educated. But
mm,
like the second like people open their eyes to like the power of cryptocurrency and being their own bank, yeah, I think majority of the people are going to choose to use that service because it's crazy. Gas is almost. They said on by the end of summer we could be looking at $8 a gallon of gas. So that's the projection in the Bahamas. So
mm.
if it's $8 a gallon, then you got to drive to the bank. The ATM might not be working.
Wait in
You see what I'm
line.
saying? You can't even get the cash to do the transaction.
Mm,
So you see what I'm saying? Yeah,
yeah.
you wait in line. They got seats. It's still COVID, so you got to sit outside the bank. You see what I'm saying? But
Mm.
trust me, I know. You see what I'm saying? You got to sit outside the bank for an hour before someone even see you. You see
Mm,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
So then you got to drive back home and burn another $8. You know, so
Mm,
I think most people, if they understand that they could take that same transaction and in minutes send it to one of their buddies once they have an internet connection. You see what I'm
mm,
saying? Or or have data on their phone and pay you know the people right there on the spot.
yeah.
Yeah, they gonna do that. It's just way more efficient, and you don't have to
Mm,
worry about you're your own bank. You just gotta
yeah.
understand. Yeah, yeah. That's
Okay, okay, okay. Well, I guess it goes without saying, but towards your last point, with its utility in the Bahamas, I think that's a big thing in and of itself, not just in the Bahamas, but for a global perspective as well. Because here in the States, in a lot of the massive world powers, the first world countries, they don't they don't see Bitcoin the same way that a lot of Bitcoiners do. I mean, and you probably could speak to this. You saw some of this in the convention itself. A lot of people, you saw the people who were deep into Bitcoin, you saw the people who just heard about Bitcoin. And many of the people in the first world countries and the major powers, they look towards Bitcoin more for speculation than utility. And when you compare that kind of perspective to the perspective you would have right now back home, where its utility alone can save you not just time but massive amounts of money over time as well, with prices going up, with grocery prices. We don't have taxes back home, but we do have VAT. We do have value added tax. What's VAT at right now? Like 12?
Bro,
What
I
is
don't know, man.
10?
Man,
10,
Davis,
12?
Braves. I don't know. I don't know, baby.
It high.
Everybody getting docs. Everybody
It
getting.
high.
Yeah, okay. It's so high, people don't even. Yeah, but like groceries, like, wait, it getting bad, but like,
uh,
yeah, bro. Like, people don't even want to go to the grocery store no more. So you wondering how they can eat? Like, it's
and
bad.
what minimum wage is right now back home?
Wait, last time I checked, it was 250. I think they raised it to 275 a week. They might have raised it
No way. No way. I thought it was like five something, but it's two
a,
something.
a week.
Oh no. Oh no. Shit, you said a week. You said a week. I was thinking an hour. Because it
Oh
was
yeah,
five
five
something
something
an
an hour.
hour.
I mean, that's come on.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. Yeah.
$40 a day.
Yeah. Yeah. But and what about the outer islands? Because one thing that we do fall short of a lot on back home is the infrastructure and the setup for these kind of
So
things.
that's the thing. I think the outer islands because they've been getting hit. You know what I mean? They've been had
Yeah.
limited access to banks and stuff like that. So I think a lot of them are adopting it, but I think they still need help in like getting the masses on board with it
Mm,
because technically we have Sand Dollar, which is a
mm,
CBDC.
trash.
Yeah, but
No one uses it. No one uses it.
yeah, no one uses it. So
No
I
one
don't know
uses it.
what I don't even know what it's like. Yeah, like nobody's being educated on how to use cryptocurrencies, and that's the problem. That is the problem now. So that's like that, and that's what I realized. Like from this is why like the space is so in need of people
Mm,
because even on educating people on cryptocurrencies, that's a industry in itself. Like
mm-hmm,
you can make a lot of money just educating people, um, the masses on cryptocurrencies education for like
mm-hmm,
governments and like pro school programs and general PR and campaigns for like
mm,
once governments want to get behind it because governments, I mean, especially with these CBDCs, they definitely gonna like make money from it. So
yeah.
it is their advantage to educate the masses to use it, to adopt it, because
Mm.
that's what it's for, is to make money. So, um, whether it's gonna be Bitcoin or the CBDC, like still stands. People need to be educated to make sure that you know, yeah, because it's inevitable at this point. It's just a more effective, it's just a more efficient system, like all around.
Okay. That was everything that I wanted to cover. Just get your full experience as a Bahamian going to their first Bitcoin conference, some of your views, some of the things you experienced, because these are the kind of events that I would love for more Bahamians to actually attend. Even if they aren't able to make it to like the one right in Miami, even though Bahamians can make it to Miami for everything else. But
Yeah, yeah,
um I think it's an invaluable experience. I was glad you was able to make it so that you could see for yourself and fully experience it, because me talking to you about crypto is completely different than the kind of conversations you would have at that convention. Having a one-on-one discussion with your small group or a couple of people that you know, or going in a Telegram or a Discord or going on Twitter, all of these things are nice, but it's really nothing compared to that in-person experience. And I feel like that in-person experience sparks that interest to want to dig more, because when you get that view of what people are doing right now, and you realize, boy, this shit is just way bigger than I ever imagined, then it sparks that interest, and you start to do some digging yourself. You don't just rely on your barber to tell you, boy, I put some money in this and I flip this real quick for the. You don't rely on that. You start to do some digging yourself, and you want to learn more. So end goal, I would want to actually have a conference like that back home, realistically. Um, because I mean, they doing the crypto Bahamas thing. It's like a Diddy party. If he ain't tell you come, you can't come inside. But I want something that's accessible for the people. I want something that's just open and wide for people to just come in, congregate. And even aside from that, if it's just finding a way to funnel people from the Bahamas to the Bitcoin conference or to some of these other conferences, because the Bitcoin conference is just one of hundreds of these things that they have throughout the year. Barbados just connected with Ghana, and I think a couple Caribbean countries and a couple African countries are uniting for a united kind of crypto or blockchain based. I have to double check it. I can't be sure, but the Prime Minister of Barbados was in Ghana, and they in talks to set up a conference themselves, connecting the Caribbean and Africa. So I want more things like that for the Bahamas too. I want that for the whole Caribbean, but I want more things like that for the Bahamas. That's home for me, so I always go back for them first. I want more things like that for them. And I mean, if no one else could do it, on us, really. Any thoughts or anything that you wanted to share? Anything you would say to a Bahamian or another person from the Caribbean watching this right now who hasn't been to a conference, who may not know much about the space, who's just dabbling in this stuff just as a slight interest? What would you say to that person right now?
Go to Poopy Trap. Shout out Poopy Trap. Shout out, you a real one. You had a great time.
Yo,
you a real one. Yeah, man. It was it, man. It was one hell of a time, man.
What would you say to them about crypto?
Yeah. People just getting started. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Boy, I tell you.
So people just getting started, man. I say hold on tight, man. Y'all about to be trading Satoshis for sure. So
Satoshis.
Yeah, so get familiar with Satoshis because that's the way it's going. I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin. I would tell them like as far as like I think I could speak more to the entrepreneurs who want to get into the space. I would say, I mean, if you have money that you will put in a savings account, I would just immediately buy the Bitcoin. Just keep it there, Especially like now, I think it's like 39,000. I don't know what Bitcoin's at right now.
Somewhere around 40. I stopped looking.
Yeah, 40. That's a deal. Buy now. The next bump is going to be definitely through the years, but definitely the next halving season. I see it breaking six figures, and what's that? 2 years, huh? That's what 2 years.
That is 2024. It's the next halving.
Yeah, by 2024, you're gonna watch this video again. They breaking six figures. So if you want to double your money,
That's a prediction. You calling that from now? That's your prediction.
I call
six figures by 2024.
By 2024, by 2028, you're gonna be at $500,000.
That's a bold call.
Yeah, by 32.
That's a bold call.
By 32, we'll be pushing $1 million. Is that what? 12 years from now?
Okay. That's 10 years from now.
Oh, then who knows how it's 28, 32. So 24 is the next half. Oh yeah, it's 10 years from now. So yeah, be pushing them now. But I think it's a great Bitcoin specifically is a great investment. I think if you want a higher percentage, you could invest in the altcoins. I would be mindful of them because they are centralized. So if you're putting your money in those, my video going out or not?
You good now?
Okay, cool. Yeah, if you're putting your money in those shit coins, you can make money for sure. be made, but you gotta watch it. So I'll be mindful of which shit coins you get into. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do a shameless plug for Miami coin. I think as you know that gets some legs. Yo, that's gonna be a crazy coin because the city's just hot. It's just like a crypto hub. Like LA is for the tech. Um, Miami is for crypto. New York
And
is
this
for
isn't
finance.
financial advice. This is
Oh yeah,
two
this is
black
not
men
financial
online
advice.
talking
I'm not
about.
certified. None of that.
We're
You know what
talking
I mean?
about zeros and ones. There's two black men online talking about zeros and ones.
Yeah, talk
None of
about
this
what I
has
would do with
anything
my
to do
money.
with financial advice whatsoever.
But yeah. You don't have to listen to me. But I definitely think um, just be mindful of what you get into. Do your research. Find a community of people that actually want you to grow and learn. Stick around that community. That community will guide you. And then once you get deep in the community, you'll see all the up and coming events. Like literally, like they got like for developers, you got like languages being created. This year when the Clarity come out,
Uh,
was it Clarity or Clarify?
clarity. Oh no, it's clarity. It's clarity for stocks.
Yeah,
I'm not sure when it started. When did they develop clarity? It wouldn't have been too long ago.
yeah. But yeah, but like as far as like creating like smart contracts that you see primarily on Ethereum, that's a great language to learn. Um, yeah, man, a lot of potential in the space for education, marketing, um, peer to peer transactions, business to business transactions, um, hardware wallets, mining equipment, just some of the things, NFTs, you know, um, on Bitcoin blockchain, like yeah, the space is getting crazy, and you got to think like everything Bitcoin has, is technically different from what all the other shitcoin has, and like literally, you can it's like the space is so new. You can take an idea from like the smart contracts that were built on Ethereum. Now you can develop that language in Clarity.
Mm.
So it's like so much little things like that you can now do. Um, you can even expand on that idea, and I think it's a crazy. I think it's a growing space. Looking for new people, they're hungry for new people. You got a bunch of VCs looking to throw money like the .com era. So they're
Mm-hmm.
throwing money at the wall and seeing what sticks because I mean everything is just so new. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we're in for definitely being this is a huge part of history. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's always going to be around in some way, shape, or form. Like I said, there's a lot of questions out in the air, like based on who controls how technology is adopted. Is it going to be decentralized or is it going to be centralized? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the battle for that is won yet. I don't think it ever will be because
Mm-hmm.
it's like like I say, both sides have its advantages and disadvantages,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely somewhere in the middle, like on that point on the circle, as a different analogy. Like, yeah, wherever that falls, it's always gonna be shifting. It's always gonna be moving,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it's a lot of money to be made. And I think, like I said, a lot of great people to meet too. Cause I think
Mm-hmm.
you got to keep in mind you're dealing with the people that are more open minded to new technology. So naturally,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna be more likely to be open minded to bringing you in their communities. Um, but you see extremists. You definitely see the extremists. You know, on all sides. But overall, it was a pretty open community, non-judgmental. Like I said, we're just willing to learn.
All right, all right, all right. Well, thank you again for sitting down, sharing your experience, talking about how you felt, what you experienced, what you learned,
Hmm.
and what you left with from the conference. Sharing your opinions on the space and its development back home in the Bahamas, the potential future of it, and just in general, kicking it here with me talking crypto. I
Yeah,
mean,
man, all the time.
these are the kind of conversations that need to be had more back home. These are the kind of conversations I want to spark more of back home, and that's part of the reason I started this whole show. Like we have too much potential back home for us not to do what we can to make sure people are equipped and ready.
Yeah.
There's way too much potential, way too much upside, and this needs to be a pressing matter. This isn't something that this isn't something that should be optional. This is the same way we lacked the real development for financial education. I think we need to double down on education of finances and the crypto space hand in hand, because these are going to intertwine. The finance and crypto basically intermingled now. There's this, they try to keep it separate, but really they're fully intertwined already. So I always love having these conversations. Thanks again for coming through. And we can see if we could get you at the next conference, man. We can see when we could get you around some more of these degenerates.
Yes.
But any parting words, any parting wisdom you want to give the man them, the gal them on the way out? I thought that was a gunshot sound effect. I said you was going out with a bang, man.
No, man. But yeah, words of the wise, booby drop.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, saying booby drop is where you want to be, man. That's the spot, man.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for this plug either, but highly recommend.
Thank you all for coming through for another episode. We can wrap it up right there. We'll see you all next week on the next episode of Crypto in the Caribbean. We can link. Jesus Christ. As always, thank you again for coming through, kicking it with us for another episode of Crypto in the Caribbean. A big thank you to my guest Dwight for coming through and sharing his opinions, his experiences, and some of his perspectives on the conference, as well as ways that this technology can be used back home in the Bahamas and possibly in the rest of the Caribbean. Y'all should know this drill by now though, right? Make sure to hit that like button. Hit the subscribe to the Gentleman of Crypto channel. You don't want to miss the rest of these crypto shows. We got Crypto Death Row. We got so many people signed to the label. It's ridiculous. You don't want to miss the content. Anything from this episode that you wanted to talk about or discuss or flesh out some more, leave it down in the comments. I'm going to be lurking all week, so I'll definitely see it and I'll make sure to respond. If you want more direct contact, my link tree is the best place to hit me up. It has all of my socials, as well as links to all of my previous and current work. Everything that I'm basically willing to share, you could find in that link tree right there. I'll have it down in the description for you as well. But most of all, really, I just look forward to seeing not just Dwight, but many other Bahamians, many other Caribbean people coming to these conferences and really showing out, because the technology is here, the people are here. We just need to bring everything together. That's what I want to do with this show. So before I get too mushy, let me just push out for y'all. Have a good night. Until next time, we can link.